Hey, I want to welcome everybody. This is Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire, and we are with our friends. Hunter, why don't you guys introduce yourselves and let's get going with this show and talk about what's happening and why we're here and all the great things. Hunter, welcome as always.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Hunter Thundercloud. I'm from the Ho Chunk Nation. I live in Arizona, and um, I'm part of a couple nonprofits and the CEO of Thundermaker Wellness Center.
That's awesome. And that's
Uh, I'm
all.
30, and I'm 40 years old
What, did you just have a birthday today?
now. But
Oh,
I feel like hitting 40. It feels like something has changed in my life. You know?
that's awesome. Well, let's hear the other host here introduce yourself.
I'm Arrow Funmaker, Bear Clan, Ho Chunk from Black River Falls, Wisconsin. I'm one of the co-founders, along with Hunter, of Thundermaker Wellness Center. We are based out of Prescott, Arizona, and we're starting off our podcast, Controlled Fire, together. Really excited.
Right on. Well, what's exciting too is that, we have a big audience here listening to us right after Native Roots Radio, and then we're on all the platforms out there that you want to listen to a podcast, and we're on YouTube, and we'll be on all the other on X. And I know Hunter and Arrow. I've our last show I've put up a couple posts on my TikTok and got a lot of good people listening and are really excited that you guys are doing this. It's so needed. Let's talk about why we're doing this, Hunter. Why don't you tell our audience why and how and why we're doing this?
Uh, well, I feel like we need more native positive uh, podcasts, through a native lens. We're working on wellness in a lot of different ways. So the podcast, in my opinion, will be about wellness and positive things and issues, but we want our issues to be based on solution. Because I like to look through a lot of life through maybe even 12 steps and ceremony, and a lot of it's about prayer and solution and gratitude. So it's not living in that dark area in your life.
Well, Arrow, it's really exciting because not only are we're not talking in theory. You guys are doing it, and what you're doing, and how you're helping the community. I'm really excited to hear about that because we need this as Indigenous people. We need to, you know, just be ourselves, and that helps. And we know that people sober up and get better when they come back to traditional ways.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the core foundation of what we're doing. Like we understand that our culture, our ceremonies, our language, even our foods, that work for us. Like we're still here. We're not survivors. We're thriving human beings in today's world, and we understand that reconnecting ourselves back to our culture and our traditional means of living life is beneficial to us, and on all levels: physical, mental, spiritual, emotional. So that's really what we're trying to do here at Thundermaker is be contributing to a change that is necessary for our people. Instead of everything's outsourced nowadays. Everything, like you know a lot of our people go to these outside facilities, and the our culture is not represented whatsoever, and we want to contribute to that change. Like we see that there's an issue, we see there's a problem. Everybody just wants to talk about the problem. This is this is that, and rather than participate in that, my brother Hunter and I decided to be part of the solution. And he's said it from the beginning: we need to provide a solution as big as the problem. And fortunately for us, we have the means to do that now. And we've been building this team and building this facility, and we're in a good place right now. And we're really trying to incorporate as much um, cultural teachings as possible into our program. We hear a lot about intergenerational trauma, and generational trauma and things like that. But Something that was pointed out to us, last year was we have the opportunity and chance to be, generational knowledge keepers, generational healing, and that's what we're really trying to express to our people is, we understand the generational trauma, but we have an opportunity to be, generational healers, generational knowledge keepers, and that's really what we're pushing for is that necessary change. I think that's kind of the core principle behind Thundermaker Wellness Center is providing that teaching to our people. Keeping that fire going, in a sense. And some of our men, we don't really know how to relight that fire, and I think that's what we're trying to do here. Controlled fire is just another avenue for what we're trying to provide. A necessary service for our people. So
Yeah, let's talk about that, Hunter. Talk about the services that you guys perform, because this is a national trend where we need to bring people in that cannot stay sober, do not know their culture, and come to you guys. And this isn't just a whim. This is something that you guys have been working on for a long time and are part of the recovery community.
Well, I went to treatment about 8 years ago, and I came out to Prescott 8 years ago for treatment. That was the fourth time I'd been in treatment, um, and then when I got here, I stayed in some form of um, treatment, whether it's sober living or partial hospitalization or intensive outpatient for about a year. So I'm seeing what was offered and then seeing what happened with all the fraud in Arizona to Native Americans. You know, our family and the community I live in, we live a ceremonial life. We are involved with ceremony. We're involved in doing cultural things, and a piece of like cultural stuff is even just being around your own people that are positive. Like um, I've been able to grow within our community because we're growing together as a family. We have all these healthy men that are safe. Whenever we have ceremony and new women come to our property, we have family and kids on our property also, and they feel like this. I've heard it quite a few times. They feel like it's the safest ceremony place they've ever been, and that's because, in my opinion, we're living the way healthy men should be living. We're focused on being protectors and being safe and doing community. I mean, so our the services that we provide are a lot of life experience and bringing in lots of healthy Native men. Because right now we're focused on um, a male program, and so we're trying to bring in other positive, whether it's behavioral health tech or therapists. Everyone on our staff are really trying to find Native people that are living this way also, and that it isn't just a job, because what we're doing is, in my opinion, we're saving lives, and that's the idea. I mean, it can't just be a medical facility. It has to be a very human connection, a human experience where you're going to find that humanity you lost in your addiction, and learn how to become a healthy person, which healthy adults learn how to fix themselves. They accept resources when they're available, and we provide resources. I mean, you know, we have ceremony, we have language teachers we can connect with, we have people. I mean, we'll be growing our own food. We have exercise programs. I mean, we have access to the outdoors. We travel with, um, we call our clients relatives. We travel with our clients. So, we've brought them to California, 7, 8 hours away, to go to ceremonies and to go to native events. We've gone to the Navajo reservation. So, I mean, we the things we offer is a caring experience where people are here to really devote their life to making sure you're healthy.
Let's take a break here. This is Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. We'll be right back after this short break. Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support. The Walker Arts Center is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Visit Diani Whitehawk, Love Language, an exhibition that celebrates the Sichangu Lakota artist, centered on connection between one another, past and present, earth and sky, and traditions of Lakota abstraction. Love Language is a sweeping survey of Whitehawk's work. The Walker is always free on Thursday nights, and citizens and members of tribal nations always get free admission. More info at walkerart.org.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Rebuilding Together Minnesota provides critical home repairs and safety modifications at no cost to low-income homeowners, with a focus on supporting BIPOC communities across Minnesota, because everyone deserves a safe place to live. If repairs feel out of reach, help is available. Their work helps older adults stay independent, support families, and strengthens neighborhoods. Apply during the application window through March 31st. Visit rtmn.org and select Apply for Help, or call 651-776-4273. Rebuilding Together Minnesota, where neighbors help neighbors. Aho, this is Robert Pilot. For Native relatives, healing is more than just sobriety. It's reclaiming Indigenous masculinity as a sacred, balanced force. Join Hunter Thundercloud for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. We explore how personal recovery uplifts our communities. It's time men step back into roles as mentors and spiritual leaders. Recovery is collective, and it starts with us. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m. for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. Let's tend the fire together. Hey, I want to welcome everyone back. This is Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire, and we have our hosts here. We have Hunter and Arrow. And Arrow, one of the things that I know Hunter's story, and I'd really love to hear where you've come from and hear about your journey. And let's take a listen. So welcome back, you two.
Thank you. Yeah, my story, my journey. I was raised by my father, pretty much. He was a single parent for a long time. So, but luckily, my dad was very embedded into our culture and our ceremonies, and spirituality, and he was very adamant about instilling that into me at a young age. And I think having that foundation for myself has definitely contributed to where I'm at today, within the grand scheme of things of what Thundermaker Wellness is. And also, credit my dad, Jim, as well. He's kind of helped push us in the direction that we're at, with Thundermaker Wellness. And he's always been an advocate for culture, ceremony, food, and language within the behavioral health system. Most of my family's all kind of been in this field since I can remember. So I feel like that's definitely contributed to who I am as a person, as an individual now. And, growing up within ceremonial way of life, being able to see the impact that it's had on our people, a lot of the people that I've came in contact with in the past, they've all shared stories about their past addiction and issues with drug abuse, violence, alcoholism, and things like that. And something that we've been able to see and acknowledge is they talk about the red road, how the red road saved them and provided them with the necessary tools to maintain long-term sobriety. And I think Hunter and I acknowledging and seeing that definitely contributed to what we're doing today. But that's kind of been my journey. Is I've fallen quite a few hundred times, and even for me, like I do acknowledge that this way of life and ceremony has always been there for me. But I definitely had to take a few side steps in my younger days and fall flat on my face. And there was a time period where I ran and ran and ran as hard as I could to escape ceremony and sweat and all these different things. And I was angry and upset and abandonment issues and self sabotage, all these different things that I've come to realize has had a huge effect on my mental stability, I guess. But having that acknowledgement and that this ceremony has always been there for me. So I know no matter how far I ran in the past, like the second I turn around, that foundation's there for me. That sweat lodge is there. That sage or that cedar, that sweet grass has always been there. So I think that's really what we've tried to incorporate into Thundermaker is no matter how far you run or how hard you try to sabotage that, the second you turn around, that ceremony is going to be there for you. That place, that space is going to be there for you when you're ready to stop running and pick those things up. And that's kind of been my journey. And
Did you
you know,
guys when did you guys meet and how did Thundermaker come about? How long have you guys known each other?
Well, Arrow brought me into ceremony. I mean, I didn't I didn't grow up with ceremony. Like it, I went to things when I was younger, but um, he's the one that has really been my teacher for that. Definitely been my teacher, and really allowed me to learn and has been you know great. He's brought me around tons of people to continue to teach me parts he can't teach. So I mean, when he talks about him and his beginning in life, it's like ceremony for Native people is something that I don't know if we acknowledge the amount of time you invest for learning and passing that on. It's not like a priest where you go somewhere for 8 years. I mean, when I see people learn in ceremony, it's their whole lives, and they'll always say there's more to learn. Like I've always heard, you could focus on learning the four directions and spend your entire life learning, and you continue to learn new things always. So I mean, Arrow's, in my opinion, Arrow's life has really created the ability to get where we are. I mean, he's been the centerpiece on, um, finding community. Our community is based around ceremony.
Absolutely. And then how did you guys known each other for all these years and then came up with Thundermaker and the whole process of ceremony? How did that come about?
So around a fire.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, around the fire, around a controlled fire.
Yes.
Yeah, Hunter and I, we met through a mutual friend here in Prescott. And it's kind of a funny story. I started a job at a rehab here in town. I've been working in the field for about 18 years, behavioral health field, providing cultural services to different rehabs here in the state of Arizona. And my last name being Funmaker, uh, one of the employees at my place was like, "That's an interesting last name, Funmaker? And I'm like, oh, it's Ho Chunk. I'm from Wisconsin. She was like, well, I know a Ho Chunk. And immediately called Hunter up, and Hunter came out, and that was in 2019.
Yeah, it was pre-COVID.
Yeah, it was pre-COVID.
I
And
mean,
Hunter came out, and right away it was you felt we had a connection. It wasn't like we were two strangers meeting. It just felt like we were brothers right away. And Hunter invited me out to his property in Chino Valley, Arizona. And then the idea came that we let's put a sweat lodge up, because my family and I just moved up here in 2018, and we were traveling back to my parents to sweat regularly. And Hunter's like, I have all this land, why don't we put a lodge up? So we put our first lodge up over there on the property, and that's kind of where it all started. And we started these conversations about, we were the people that were talking about the problem. We were discussing the problem. But Hunter is not really a talker, to be honest. His way of thinking is like, no, I get it. We understand there's a problem. What are we doing to provide a solution? And that kind of sparked the whole idea behind Thundermaker Wellness Center. And it was a conversation around the fire at the sweat lodge. And, it was just him and I sitting out there after a sweat one night. And that's kind of where it began. And Hunter actually came up with this great, we were racking our brains, like, what should we call it? What's the name of this program going to be? And Hunter combined our family's last names, Thundercloud and Funmaker. And that's where Thundermaker came from, was, two Ho Chunk families' names. And it's been pretty impactful, and I don't think everybody back at home understands what the name came from or what it means, but that was kind of the beginning of where we're at right now.
And like even within like a ceremony aspect, we talk about thunder medicine. That's something that for us is part of what we are and who we do, or what we do. I mean, it's providing solution. And I think Arrow's right. Like, sometimes I don't think very much, and I'm like, let's just go do it. I fail at a lot of things, but I never am just like, let's do it if I don't have someone to do it with. Like, I think the best parts of a life are doing it with community and family and friends. In my opinion, all the businesses in our community and the way we live is all with people we love and care about. Doesn't mean we always like them, but we do love and care. And I think that's the part of living in community that's hard, is that it becomes a devotion and finding and creating a safe space. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Hey, why don't we take a break? This is Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire, and we're here with Arrow and Hunter, and really having a great chat about relationships and how you can find Ho Chunks anywhere around the world. That's pretty awesome. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Short. Stay with us. The Walker Art Center is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Visit Diani Whitehawk, Love Language, an exhibition that celebrates the Sichangu Lakota artist, centered on connection between one another, past and present, earth and sky, and traditions of Lakota abstraction. Love Language is a sweeping survey of Whitehawk's work. The Walker is always free on Thursday nights, and citizens and members of tribal nations always get free admission. More info at walkerart.org. Oh, this is Robert Pilot. For Native relatives, healing is more than just sobriety. It's reclaiming Indigenous masculinity as a sacred, balanced force. Join Hunter Thundercloud for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. We explore how personal recovery uplifts our communities. It's time men step back into roles as mentors and spiritual leaders. Recovery is collective, and it starts with us. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m. for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. Let's tend the fire together. Rebuilding Together Minnesota provides critical home repairs and safety modifications at no cost to low-income homeowners, with a focus on supporting BIPOC communities across Minnesota, because everyone deserves a safe place to live. If repairs feel out of reach, help is available. Their work helps older adults stay independent, support families, and strengthens neighborhoods. Apply during the application window through March 31st. Visit rtmn.org and select Apply for Help, or call 651-776-4273. Rebuilding Together Minnesota, where neighbors help neighbors.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
The Walker Arts Center is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Visit Deani Whitehawk, Love Language, an exhibition that celebrates the Sichangu Lakota artist, centered on connection between one another, past and present, earth and sky, and traditions of Lakota abstraction. Love Language is a sweeping survey of Whitehawk's work. The Walker is always free on Thursday nights, and citizens and members of tribal nations always get free admission. More info at walkerart.org.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. I've been telling you about my friends at Snap Construction, who are arguably the most well-reviewed exterior construction company in the metro. Don't just take my word for it. Take a look at all their reviews online. Winter is the most cost-effective time of the year to complete your construction project. A majority of Minnesotans choose to have their work completed on their home in the summer when they should be enjoying the weather. As a result, the demand for labor in the summer is much higher. The most cost-effective way to improve or restore your home is in the winter due to the lower demand. Right now, Snap Construction is offering an additional 30% off of labor to the AM 950 listeners on your next construction project between now and the end of February. Call 612-333-SNAP and mention AM 950 for an additional 30% off. As always, Snap Construction stands by their work with a lifetime craftsmanship warranty. Don't wait to get a free estimate by calling 612-333-SNAP or find them online at snapconstruction.com. Financing options available.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. Here we're with our relatives here, Hunter and Arrow. And Arrow, we were talking a little bit last segment about ceremony. What would you like to tell our listening audience out there about ceremony?
Ceremony is the core foundation of what Thundermaker is. And, you know, everybody that's here within our program, you know, whether they're employees or relatives, like we actually live this way of life on a daily basis. It's not something that we incorporate once a week. Like this is a 24/7 thing. You know, every morning we start our day off smudging. You know, we utilize a lot of the roots, cedar, sage, sweetgrass, all these different things.
Bear root.
Huh?
Bear root.
Bear root,
That's
yeah,
my favorite.
yeah, right. Like it's an everyday thing. It's an everyday practice. I think that's what really stands out for us is that we're actually practicing what we preach. You know, we sweat every week. We facilitate ceremonies. We travel for ceremony. We went all the way back east recently towards North Carolina to take ceremony for some relatives over there on the Cherokee Reservation, Eastern Band. And we take our relatives with us. You know, it's an everyday practice. I think that's really the core of what Thundermaker is that fireplace and having that understanding of what that fireplace means and represents to our people. You know, getting back to this communal way of living, our people, it wasn't like a side thing, ceremony back in the day. It was just the way we live. Like we didn't have to tell people like, oh, I'm a spiritual person or I'm a ceremonial person. It was I'm just a human being, and that's the way we lived, and that's really what we're trying to allow to happen for our relatives is reconnecting them to that fireplace, that spiritual essence, that foundation of culture, reconnecting them to that place mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. Learning what it is to be a human being. Everybody always talks about, I'm a spiritual this, I'm a warrior, I'm this, I'm that. It's like, well, let's learn how to be a human being first and foremost. How to be present for yourself before you start thinking about being present as a warrior or a leader, all these different things. So to us, that's kind of what ceremony is. It's regrounding, refocusing, learning how to feed ourselves from that fire to where we can be the best version of ourselves as possible for us. And then, that it's like a domino effect. If I can show up for me today in a way of prayer and in a way of culture and spirituality, then that in turn allows me to show up for everybody else that's around. I think
You
that's really
know,
what we're doing.
yeah, when you talk about ceremony, it sounds like more what you're talking about is a way of life, and a way of life that you guys help with your wellness center, but also just being in community, and community is number one. Talk a little bit about that, talk a little bit about how you have to change everything, but it's really inch by inch instead of everything all at once. And how was that process with you, Hunter?
Well, I mean, when I talk with relatives when they first come in, I always tell them to think about this, you know, next step of their life or the way they're living is part of ceremony, and that they're focusing on, the most important ceremony of their life, which is their self. And I think a lot of people in recovery and out of recovery forget that ceremony is the life. There's respect, and it's a gift. I mean, there should be gratitude for every single day. It's like we've gotten so I guess distracted with everything in the world. I mean, so coming in, and this is even another thing when I talk to guys, I'm like, this will probably be one of the more easier times in your life. I mean, I actually think sometimes going to jail, going to recover, like a facility for a long period of time, those are a lot easier than having to maybe get sober at home. And you still have to have a job. You still have to pay bills. I mean, life is hard with the monotony. It's actually what's hard about life. It's not it's not the chaos usually. It's the ability to be disciplined, to go to work every single day, to come home, to cook food, to do the consistent things with your family. Like you're busy and you're like, I have to go to my child's play 4 times in one weekend because that's how many there are. And
Yeah.
you know, I'm not that kind of parent, but um, Arrow is. And I think by living like that, that's part of that ceremony. It's showing respect to our next generations and ourselves and the previous generations. I mean, they wanted us to be good people before us, and they expect us to be good people after us. You know,
So Arrow and Hunter, you're talking about ceremony as a way of life, and as being a spiritual being here in this physical place. It's a way of thinking, right, Arrow?
Right. It is. You you said it correct. It's a way of life. It's not some side thing that we do on the weekends. It's an everyday practice. And a lot of times I think we misinterpret what ceremony is. I have to be in my traditional clothing, and I have to have a fan, and I have to have cedar, and I have to have all these, it has to be the right setting. But it's not like that. Like, to us, this is a part of ceremony, sharing a conversation with our relatives, like, speaking on, the change that we need to do, and speaking on what it is to be a man in today's world. What we do with our families. Like, to me, to us, that's a ceremony. Uh, you know, hanging out at home, having a meal with our loved ones, that's part of ceremony. Sleeping is a part of ceremony. Driving to work, interacting with our relatives, or interacting with another human being, like, that's a ceremonial way of life. It's a way of life. It's not something that we turn on, on a Friday night for sweat, or I'm just in ceremony when I go to powwow or things like this. It's a way of life. It's the way we live our life on a daily basis. It's not an extra piece of who we are as human beings. It's we live, breathe, sleep, eat, this way of life on a daily basis. And I think if
And
more people can, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was just saying that to me, addiction is such a lonely thing. And what you're talking about with your definition of ceremony is the opposite of being lonely. It's being in community. And we feel when we're stricken with addiction that we have the biggest problems and we're alone. And it's just all those things that snowball is what I'm hearing from you, Errol.
Yeah. And, we're not alone. We've become so adjusted to this colonized way of living that, we feel alone. And if we continue living like that, yeah, we're going to be alone. But if we have more places, think of it as a fireplace. If we have a fireplace in every state, if we're traveling cross country, then we have a place we can go pray to. We have a table that we're invited to. We always tell people when they come, we have an open door policy here at Thundermaker. There's always going to be a bowl, there's always going to be a spoon, and there's always going to be a cup for you at our table. So reconnecting these fires to one another, I think, is really important for our people. Like, we don't own any of these things. We don't own our language. We don't own our foods. We don't own our ceremonies. Like, we're caretakers. And if we're gonna be those caretakers, then we have to be always ready to host our relatives. And I think that's one of the most important things, is that reconnect these fireplaces to one another, because they all started from one place. You know, with Ho Chunk, with our own people, like, there were families that were connected back in the day. And it's like, now today's world, it's like we're not really connected in that way. And not just Ho Chunk, but I think Indian country. I think we like to say we're unified and connected, but we're not. We're so segregated. And I think a part of living in a community is like, I'm not able to hide if I'm living in a community. If I'm having a hard time and I'm struggling, physically or emotionally or spiritually, everybody's going to see it, and they're going to
Mm.
call me out on it. I have that accountability. My brother's going to be like, "You look off today. What's going on?" Whereas if I wasn't living in a community, I could hide in my room and sleep for days, and maybe somebody has the urgency to come knock on the door and check on me. But if we're living in a community, we don't have that availability. We don't have that opportunity to hide. And I think that's been beneficial, in acknowledgement that we're not alone in this. If we struggle, we struggle together. If we fall, we fall together. If I know that if Hunter was to win the lottery tomorrow, it's not I won the lottery. It's, hey, we won the lottery.
Mm.
And I think that's having that mindset on as many areas as possible in life is very beneficial to us. Then we don't feel alone. I don't feel like I have to cook this meal by myself. It's stone soup. Everybody participates and contributes to creating this meal for our people. And to me, it's a powerful metaphor. You know what I mean? We're all equally
Absolutely.
contributing.
Absolutely. We got less than a minute left. I would really love if, Hunter, you could just tell people how we could get a hold of you or your website and more information about what you guys are doing down there, and the beautiful thing and the great work that you're doing. I wonder if you could let everybody know how to get a hold of you.
Yeah, one of the easiest ways is probably by going to our website, which is thundermakerwellness.com. And we also have an Instagram page, which is still Thundermaker Wellness. And if you look up Che Jim, he's connected to us. So for Thundermaker Wellness, we also have a non-profit, which is Thundermaker. No, it's ThundermakerCulturalRecovery.org. So if you want to donate, we always need money.
That's awesome. Hey, why don't we take a quick break here? I am with the Thundermaker people here, Hunter, Thundercloud, and our friend Arrow Funmaker. We'll be right back after this. Stay with us. The Walker Art Center is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Visit Diani Whitehawk, Love Language, an exhibition that celebrates the Sichangu Lakota artist, centered on connection between one another, past and present, earth and sky, and traditions of Lakota abstraction. Love Language is a sweeping survey of Whitehawk's work. The Walker is always free on Thursday nights, and citizens and members of tribal nations always get free admission. More info at walkerart.org. Aho, this is Robert Pilot. For Native relatives, healing is more than just sobriety. It's reclaiming Indigenous masculinity as a sacred, balanced force. Join Hunter Thundercloud for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. We explore how personal recovery uplifts our communities. It's time men step back into roles as mentors and spiritual leaders. Recovery is collective, and it starts with us. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m. for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. Let's tend the fire together. Rebuilding Together Minnesota provides critical home repairs and safety modifications at no cost to low-income homeowners, with a focus on supporting BIPOC communities across Minnesota, because everyone deserves a safe place to live. If repairs feel out of reach, help is available. Their work helps older adults stay independent, support families, and strengthens neighborhoods. Apply during the application window through March 31st. Visit rtmn.org and select Apply for Help, or call 651-776-4273. Rebuilding Together Minnesota, where neighbors help neighbors.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
The Walker Art Center is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Visit Diani Whitehawk, Love Language, an exhibition that celebrates the Sichangu Lakota artist, centered on connection between one another, past and present, earth and sky, and traditions of Lakota abstraction. Love Language is a sweeping survey of Whitehawk's work. The Walker is always free on Thursday nights, and citizens and members of tribal nations always get free admission. More info at walkerart.org.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. I've been telling you about my friends at Snap Construction, who are arguably the most well-reviewed exterior construction company in the metro. Don't just take my word for it. Take a look at all their reviews online. Winter is the most cost-effective time of the year to complete your construction project. A majority of Minnesotans choose to have their work completed on their home in the summer when they should be enjoying the weather. As a result, the demand for labor in the summer is much higher. The most cost-effective way to improve or restore your home is in the winter due to the lower demand. Right now, Snap Construction is offering an additional 30% off of labor to the AM 950 listeners on your next construction project between now and the end of February. Call 612-333-SNAP. and mention AM 950 for an additional 30% off. As always, Snap Construction stands by their work with a lifetime craftsmanship warranty. Don't wait to get a free estimate by calling 612-333-SNAP or find them online at snapconstruction.com. Financing options available.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire, and we got our host Arrow, and we got Hunter here, and we are just, chewing the the sacred fat, as they say, and a lot going on. You guys, what else is going on, and how can we find out more about you? Maybe Arrow, you could talk a little bit about that.
So, being a wellness center, we have multiple things going on. We've been, um, you know, who we are, we're able to have all these different relationships with other communities and community members. So, one of the community members we've been in contact with for years, that's actually like a brother of ours, is Shoni De La Rosa. He's a Navajo filmmaker based off the Navajo Res here in Arizona. We're going to be showing two of his films, Milepost 398, and then The Arrangement. And The Arrangement's been winning a lot of awards lately. And he was kind enough to allow us to screen one of his or both of his films here in Prescott, Arizona, on the 31st of this month, on behalf of our nonprofit Thundermaker Cultural Recovery. Um, to bring more good events for the community out here, and let our people know that we're advocates for healthy gatherings and peaceful things, and providing spaces for artists and vendors and like-minded people that are also advocates for mental well-being and sobriety and things like that. So yeah, the 31st we'll be hosting a film event, and we were fortunate enough through Che Jim to do some promotional stuff for Indian as well. We had the filmmaker and producer out here in Prescott, and they participated in ceremony with us while they were here. And so we have we've we're trying to get out there, and we want as many advocates as possible to participate in the solution that we're building. I think being good community members and trying to provide more healthy spaces for our people is part of that advocacy, and getting ourselves out there and sharing our vision and our mission and our goal, and
and
you
then
know
and then finding other people to work with. I
right.
mean, creating events is part of the community stuff. I mean, it can't always be serious. We have to enjoy life. We have
Mhm.
to show kids that look at all these other adults that are doing things that are positive. You know, it's it's really nice. Like, we brought our daughter to things, and it shows that she has the ability or access to do different things in the world. I mean, that's part of our healing is making sure the next generation is good. Um,
Well, that's
so
what
it,
you guys are talking about. Is not only community, but that's part of the ceremony that you guys were talking about earlier, Hunter.
it is. I mean, and our our real goal with Thundermaker at some point is to have a dozen businesses that we own that we can track our relatives into so that they have job opportunities, apprenticeships, so they can leave with real job skills, and enter the workforce if they want. I mean, the idea would, in my mind's always, how do we get people that have lost everything to have the ability to go home and support their families and then become leaders in their communities? Not not just be there, but help create the same thing we're doing. In my mind, we want to replicate health and wellness. We want people to go home and, you know, they don't have to go home to be sun dancers, but the idea is that we're trying to inspire people to go home and join their cultures and join their tribes and get jobs and be providers and make sure, our elderly and our women and children are protected. I mean, that's what men should be doing is making sure that our communities are safe, and work ethic and money do do help with that. It's not the only thing, but it's a tool like anything. I mean, understanding money is a tool.
Yeah, definitely, and I like that you're looking to expand this to the whole community in different ways to help the community, and not every person fits in this this box, so you have other opportunities, which is really awesome. Arrow, I'm wondering too, could you talk a little bit, we're winding up the last segment here, and talk a little bit about how we can find out what you're doing, and also how we can support your organization and your work. I think that's so important.
So we have a few websites. You can look up Thundermaker Wellness Center, or you can look up Thundermaker Cultural Recovery. Periodically we'll put out little clips and videos, TikTok, things like that. Like Hudson was saying, it's not just all seriousness. We try to provide a lot of humor in what we do as well. So that's definitely something that we're trying to incorporate. Allow our people to have fun and laugh. As we know, laughter is medicine. I really feel like there's no louder laugh than a laugh in Indian country. So that's definitely something that we're trying to provide as well. So
So you guys have a couple TikTok ways to watch you on TikTok. I've seen a couple of your shorts. Can you're teaming up with a pretty famous person out there on TikTok too?
yeah, so Che Jim is actually he's a part of Thundermaker Wellness Center. He's not only the chief marketing officer, but he's also one of our traditional practitioners, spiritual leaders within the community as well. So, but yeah, he definitely provides a much needed source of humor for what we do and who we are as Thundermaker Wellness.
Yeah, but Arrow's funnier in person.
Well, I was going to say, I didn't realize, how good at actors and comedians you were until I saw those. I had to watch the video again to make sure it was you guys.
Yeah, well, it's like tapping into these places, that we don't really know exist. Like that whole saying, like we don't know what we don't know. Like who knew I could take direction that well, on a little funny video and stuff.
Well, and
Exactly.
it's that creativity, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even this is kind of part of our workday now. We want to build stuff like this into it, right? So it allows like working within the treatment facility to have all these other options. It's not as mundane, and it's showing even the people we work with that a job can be a lot more than just going in and you not enjoying it. We're trying to build something where we can all live life together. You know, I mean,
Mhm.
life should be more than just going to work and not enjoying your job and going home and living a life of distraction. The human connection and building stuff is what's great. It's the creativity, the brain. And I think that's Thundermaker's doing. The goal is to do all those things with our relatives, which is thundermakerwellness.com. But yes, it's to
Yeah.
do all of those things. It's life is beautiful. It's great. It's a gift. I mean, every day we're here is a gift. And that shouldn't be taken lightly.
Yeah, they say if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And that's
Right.
definitely, I think, where we're at as a team, as a family, as a circle, as a community is we're doing what we love to do. And every day we come into work, it's an opportunity to learn. It's an opportunity to contribute. It's an opportunity to continue our education and help somebody, and at the same time, like have fun and help ourselves at this, all together. It's it takes a community to heal a community. It takes a community to heal, individuals, and that's really what we're doing. So everybody here, it's an amazing place to provide a much necessary change for our people, and we
Wow.
don't really see it as work.
Well, we got like 15 seconds, and I don't know if that was a mic drop statement, Hunter, but you got the floor here in the last 10 seconds.
Well, contact us at thundermakerwellness.com if you need anything. We're here to provide services, and then if you want more information, write us an email or contact us on any of the social medias, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're accessible on all of them. That's Thundermaker Wellness.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Big Peeny Gee, you guys have a great day, and thank you so much for your story. Oh.